Candyman.
Candyman.
Take it to the candy shop. Oh girl, don't you stop.
This is a Patreon special review for our friend Courtney Reed, an awesome supporter of the channel. Thank you so goddamn much.
Thanks, Courtney, for giving us diabetes with Candyman.
If you don't know, we've got a Patreon tier where you guys get to pick the review that we do this week. This week it's Courtney. It's all about you, Courtney.
All about you.
I always knew it was you. It was always you, Courtney. Shit.
You say his name 5 fucking times and he hooks your vagina or your butthole, whatever his preference is at that point. You say his name 5 times in the mirror, you're fucked. You're over. Yeah. Basically, it's a mythological... It's a mythological creature that exists in the minds and hearts of this downtrodden group of people that live on a very bad side of town. And by keeping his memory alive, this creature of the night comes and fucks you when you least expect it.
Lady of the Night.
It's one of those legends that, you know, we've all been subject to. Bloody Mary, Courtney Love, when you play Kurt Cobain's song backwards. It's always one of those weird things. It's based on Clive Barker, which is fucking masterful. Like, Clive Barker's he's actually a really, really good storyteller. It's based on his book, The Forbidden, that they made into a movie. The thing about this film, though, is I realized when I was watching it, it had been a while since I'd seen it. It's solid. It's so good. And it's so well acted. It's one of the best. The best is that it feels like it's got a lot of Clive Barker elements in it. You know, even when there's one scene where he was like, I can promise you the pain will be exquisite. It reminded me of Pinhead.
He even says that, yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of Pinhead. But it had, for me, anyway, watching it, it had like this Wes Craven, the people under the stairs feel to it. Like the way that, you know, they talked about the family that lived down the street that did a lot of fucked up things in a kind of hushed tones, almost like mythology or something, like these like brother and sister duo. It felt like Wes Craven-ish in a lot of ways, and so that was a credit to the director and the screenwriters of this film. Dude, Tony Todd fucking owns it. Like, he is so good, and they did a great thing in this movie. You don't see him very often, and when you do see him, they make it magical.
He feels summoned,
and his voice sounds like smooth butter on your butt.
Oh man!
Like I'll be your victim.
I love smooth butter on my butt.
I'll be your victim,
I love
sir.
it
I don't
so
care,
much.
Tony Todd, about bees. I like them.
But that's the whole thing. That's what's going on. Is that this character Helen, she's writing her thesis, and they hear from one of the ladies that work at the place that she's at that there's these killings that have been going on at Capri Green, and they hear that there's this mythological character called Candyman, who they say their name 5 times in the mirror. He shows them. Kills people, but there's been a bunch of deaths that have actually happened. So she decides to take her partner, and they go over there actually to Capri Green, and they find, which is funny, the guy who wrote this, not Clive Barker, but the guy who ended up directing it, there was an actual story like that, where this guy had come through the bathroom mirror. There was a hole behind the bathroom mirror that he removed it, and he killed somebody with it. And then they find out that's how he's been doing these things.
Was it Michael Jackson?
I'm talking to the man in the mirror.
When he opened the mirror, he's like, Shabbat! Shabbat, get over here!
It's Scorpion that's been doing it. But no, I mean, dude, this movie, I know it's a huge horror movie.
He opened the mirror, he's like, Free Willy!
I know it's a huge horror movie, but at the same time, every time I watch it, I get the feeling that it's underrated. It's such a good movie. I feel like it should be up there on the list, on the lips of people who talk about Hellraiser and Freddy and all that shit like that. Had it had more good sequels, I feel like it would be right on that level.
I remember, I think I liked Farewell to the Flesh, the sequel. I think I liked it. It wasn't bad. I barely remember Candyman 3. I know they got dumb, but the Farewell to the Flesh wasn't bad. But this movie, it almost feels like it doesn't suffer from it, but it almost feels like this movie is like talked about in whispers, just like the actual mythology of Candyman. And again, I can't say enough about Tony Todd and how well he did, but it's not just him. The main girl, Helen, she did a phenomenal job too. The guy, the piece of shit husband that she has, Trevor, you know, he's a fucking stepdad from T2.
Yeah.
It's like, will you shut... It goes, John, get your ass inside, do what your mother tells you. It's like, she's not my mom, Todd. But... He's that guy, and he does a good job playing the slimy kind of asshole, which you gotta suspect right away when that one chick is like giving the evil stink eye to Helen during the professor meeting, when, you know, you're like, okay, something's up. You're putting your wiener, your candlestick into some wax that's not your wife. The gore effects they have, while it's not a lot, it's done like pretty well as far as like how the story unfolds. And there's one thing about this also that I take away from is the fact that Candyman will fucking kill a kid. He doesn't give a shit. A baby, a little boy, a little girl. There's one scene in the bathroom.
Yeah.
He chopped the kid's dick off and flushed the toilet. And it was just floating in there. And dude, that little boy that was telling the story was like, better to be dead. It's like, I tell you the truth. Like, because it's like, he's like that. And then, you know, he's like, I love the fact that, you know, they would go in there and he's like, whatever he saw, like, turned their hair white. It's like, I had seen shit that'll turn you white. And I was like, that's, like, because I guess it was the fact that Candyman was coming with a hook and did that grotesque thing to a little boy. The fact is, there is no limits to what he will do. And the reason why, what you find in the movie is that Candyman has to have his legend live. He has to have the myth live. And he's like, you know, the whispers on the school children's lips. So by doing these atrocious acts, he knows that his memory will survive, therefore him surviving into immortality. I fucking love it.
Yeah, dude. And I mean, they've done that kind of thing before with Freddy Krueger. Like, if they forget about me, I want this. You know, they've done that
like a joke thing.
Right. But what I find so fascinating about this is his origin story, too. Because he's the son of a slave who was also an artist who made a fortune by selling shoes in the time of war or whatever. He developed this device that would sell shoes or whatever. So he made a lot of money off of that. Yeah.
It didn't just. It wasn't a goddamn robot. It was like shoot. Take a shoe. Yeah, he developed a machine that would create shoes faster.
Right, but he made a fortune off of that. So he was accepted by the community or whatever. But then he was hired to do a piece for this rich guy, and he did his piece of a daughter instead, and then they had a baby. So then what they did was they took him and they killed him. They fucked him up. They cut his fucking arm off and then slathered him in honey. And then just like My Girl 2, or My Girl, not My Girl 2, but just like My Girl, the bees came and fucked his shit up. So like he lives in you know, he's eternal now. But dude,
that story was told by goddamn Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah,
that guy with the long hair. He looked like Benjamin Franklin. He's like, you going to bury me? And how are you going to bury me if you don't know the full story? And the way,
tell me of Ohio.
I'd like to know. It looks good. How could it have come to this? Farmers with pitchforks. But Benjamin Franklin, in the movie, the guy with the long hair, when he's telling the story, it's so enrapturing. I don't know if it's the guy. The guy does a great job, by the way. We're poking fun of
long hair, McGregor.
Yeah, he looks, you know, whatever.
He looks like the guy who'd be like, pardon me, do you have any grape upon?
He looks like the guy that works for H&H Gregg that's gonna fuck you for what they charged you for your taxes. But no, he tells it in such an enthralling way. Like, I don't, you know, his accent and just the guy's a great actor, but it pulls you in, and I love the way the camera works on her face, like the way the shadows kind of build, and she starts getting teary-eyed because she starts like getting into that. Dude, it's so, again, the camera angles in this, the way that they tell the story through the eyes of her, and as the legend unfolds, and when you start to realize what Candyman really is and why he's doing what he's doing and what's going to happen, it's fucking, dude, like, I don't understand like how this isn't like, I don't know. Like if you say Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th.
I think it's up there with
Hellraiser.
I think
Candyman's up there, man.
I think had it had sequels that really, you know, took off, it would have done it. But the problem is it's like Hellraiser in the way that it's not a comfortable watch. It's not a fun, let's do a Friday night flick horror movie. It feels like almost you're watching the movie in a dream state.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's a movie that's made that way. Like for instance, when she's on the rooftop and she's in that bathroom and the fake ass Candyman comes along and all this stuff and Cabrini Green and the way it's all shot.
Are you looking for Candyman, bitch?
But the way it's all shot, it feels like there's just a camera floating there, like you're not even supposed to.
No, they remade that'd be 50 Cent.
I'll take you to the candy shop. But it feels like you're not even supposed to be there. Like the entire movie to me felt like you're not supposed to be watching this happen. It all feels so real and surreal at the same time. It's really fucked up the way they shot everything. But I don't know, dude, it's scary on a different level because it feels so real. And then when you finally get to the horror shit, when the horror shit happens while you're dealing with all this like just weird like hypnotized shit, which by the way, the director actually, because they were so tired of like the screaming girl thing in movies, in horror movies, they would hypnotize her. Virginia Madsen, they would hypnotize her before scenes. So when this fucked up shit would happen, you know how she would stand there with like this, like look in her face?
I thought she had a Xanax.
No, dude, she was fucking hypnotized. Like they actually went that far as to do that.
They did that to Mike Tyson,
which is fucking crazy, man. The levels they went through this. I just think this movie, as famous as it is, it's still fucking underrated because it should be up there with Freddy. It should be top notch.
I feel like definitely that Candyman suffered from maybe coming out at the wrong time, but I definitely feel like it was a victim of its time. be my victim. It was a victim of the 90s.
I mean, and it did well. It just didn't have the staying power. It feels like some of the other movies did.
That's why, like, look, we're interested to see the Candyman remake, but that's why I said earlier when we saw the trailer, I was like, I never felt like that movie needed to be remade. It was so fucking well done. It was so amazingly done.
Well, the trailer does.
And Tony Todd. No, I'm not saying the new Candyman's not going to be great.
Yeah.
But Tony Todd, man, like he just fucking owned it, and it was so. It was so, like, you pointed, they hypnotize, the movie's hypnotic. Like, it lulls you in and it gets you there, and then you start identifying with, okay, I get why this guy's pissed off, and I understand what the fuck is going on. I wouldn't go as far as, maybe, therapy and a hot cup of Java will get you places. But you get why he's doing what he's doing, because he can't survive without, certain things happening. But overall, man, I gotta be honest, this movie is a 9.5 for me.
That's exactly what I was
fucking
gonna give it.
up there.
That's exactly what I was going to give it too. And the whole thing that she goes through, like once things start to pick up, and he reveals himself to her in this parking lot, and he's like, I'm Candyman, be my victim, or whatever, and she gets all fucking out of it, and then she wakes up all of a sudden in an apartment with her cut off, the dog's head's cut off, the woman's bleeding in the corner. I don't know what I've done. I've been drinking all night long, but no.
And that one girl pulls out her fucking extensions.
She wakes up in the middle of that scene, and then her friend ends up dead. She goes to the hospital, like all this fucked up stuff, and she just wakes up in these dream states and has killed people. And then that one scene, dude, like when you get to the later on in the movie where she's talking to the psychiatrist or whatever, and he's like, I'm trying to help you deal with these murders that you've created. And he says Candyman, and then like you don't expect that, like it's against all the rules.
That fucked me up
when he fucking pops up behind the dude, and we're not in Capri.
He's slicing his taint.
We're not in Capri Green anymore. We're in a fucking business office, and all of a sudden Candyman appears behind that
on his taint.
Fucks and rips his shit from you hang up on me again and I'll gut you like a fish.
He's on his in-between.
Guts him like a fish.
He fucking comes up with his in-betweens.
And then he fucking sucks right out of the window. Dude. Like fucking sucks like the wind out of the goddamn, that part freaked me the fuck out.
There's two things that I want to point out. Like,
Windy, I can fly.
Maybe they were like rushing, but if you look really closely, when she gets admitted to the psychiatric hospital, when they're trying to put the needle in her, you can see it bend because it's a fake needle. I'm talking, it's one of those needles that it's plastic and it goes in when you push in. It goes, dude, you fucking see it.
I didn't notice.
Yeah, dude, I saw it. I rewound it because it was obvious. That one actress was, I guess she was nervous and she was like, you could see that it goes like this, and the camera guy didn't pick it up. And then when Tony Todd goes through the window, you can see the fucking wire. You can see the wire.
I was so freaked out I didn't see it.
Well, there's a wire, like you can see the fucking wire. It's like Candyman needs help. But yeah, overall, it's still a well done film. There's some issues with it. Yeah, as far as like maybe they rushed some things or whatever.
The reveal, the hardcore reveal scene where he's like, oh, and he ribs it,
and it's coming out of his mouth.
His fucking ribs are open, and then the bees start coming out of his mouth. Was that real? It was real, dude. They put a mouthpiece in his mouth, and then the guy that was it was the same bees from My Girl. It was the guy who did the bees from My Girl, the same dude. But he tried to use like fresh bees that didn't like have their stingers developed yet, but they still did. And Tony Todd had it put into his contract that every bee sting he got, he would get an extra $1,000
I do
for.
that.
And he ended up stung 23 times, so he got 23,000 extra bucks out of that. Smart move.
Give me that fucking poison money.
But he
that girl is poison. Poison. Poison.
But they put a mouthpiece in his mouth, but he actually did that. That shit was real
fucking bad. Well, remember Joe's apartment?
Yeah.
They used real cockroaches, and he fucking did that shit too.
Not even that's the most gnarly shit I've ever heard in my fucking life, though. But yeah, and then the very when the end of the movie comes up, that was
the issue. I'm not like a big fan of the way the movie ends, especially when they try to pass on the mantle. In a way, I feel like. I guess that's why they went back to do Candyman 2, because they were like, well, Tony Todd's so incredible in it. I really like to explore more with that character. I'm not saying that the ending was awful. I just feel like they could have, like that, to me, that's preventing it from getting to a 10, because I feel like the ending was just so, like, I don't know, it was generic. Like, it was, I don't know, I feel like, couldn't it have been a double team kind of thing? Couldn't it have been something else? Like, I don't know.
I like how they tricked him into doing it, though, because he was, like, all distraught, and the mirror was like,
yeah, but
Helen.
First off, that fucking thing.
Helen.
Yeah, we don't want to give the movie away, but we don't want to, like, it's like, Candyman's got a ring to it. It sounds good. Like, like it's like goddamn, you ever seen that thing you do is like the Oneaters. It's the Oneaters. Like, no, drop the O-N-E, it's the Wonders.
Thank God that there's not a urban legend around saying balding in the mirror 5 times, because I'm like, balding. Balding. Oh, balding.
We come out looking
I'm
like
fucking dead.
looking like Bryan Cranston in Breaking Bad.
But no, man.
But that's cool.
The acting, it's one of the creepiest fucking movies you can watch. Like, you get sucked into it because the story's so well done, and you feel like you're almost falling down a dark fucking hallway. It's a very odd vibe I get every single time I watch this movie,
good.
man. And it's so entrancing, it's so good. And then Tony Todd's performance just sets it over the top. Yeah, total 9.5.
And
one of the most underrated.
And his costume's dope. I love the costume. He's got that You know what he looks like? He looks like I'm gonna pop some tabs. Only got $20 in my pocket. Like, he does look like that.
That's fair.
He kind of does.
Yeah.
But it's cool, man. He's rocking the shit out of it because that's $50 for a t-shirt. But no, dude, like, he looks like a pimp. He looks fucking cool. He's got the and like, you know, honestly, the story of Candyman, the backstory of Candyman is tragic. It actually is tragic. And when you get into that, and especially they explore it more in Candyman 2, Farewell to the Flesh, you're like, fuck. You know, it's like, I can see why you're pissed. And like, does he become an anti-hero in a way because he wants to exact revenge? Maybe, but the fact that he kills kids, it's really hard to root for him. And the fact that they show it, like, they don't show like him actually doing it. It's only that quick moment, that the flash sequence when he's talking about when the little boy is telling Helen about the other little boy that went into the restroom, and you see it for a second.
Yeah.
And you see his dick basically cut off and then in the toilet.
Really good.
God damn.
Really good.
Even Freddy didn't go that far, but
Yeah. That reminds me of one time, dude, when I worked at ACS. You know, we went to...
You saw a guy's dick cut off?
No, but we went to a Chinese...
Who's mistress?
We went to a Chinese buffet for lunch, and you know those, like, calamari? You know, calamari? But they had, like, little full baby octopuses, but they're, like, this big. And I took them, and I took the crust off of them, and I put, like, 4 of them in a napkin.
Where'd you go?
It was a weird Chinese buffet. And I put 4 of them, and I put them in my pocket, and then we went to work, and I dropped them in the toilets, and I didn't flush. So somebody had to walk in there and be like, there's baby octopuses in the toilet!
You better shit out them goddamn... Am I at a Herman Melville fucking
Dude, I still get a kick knowing, to this day, I know there's like 4 or 5 people in the world who worked at ACS at the time that still don't know how baby octopuses got into those fucking toilets.
They probably wrote an article to CNN like, this is an outbreak. People are shitting on octopus. they're shitting on octopi. But yeah, so
Courtney,
hey
great
man,
fucking pick.
I love it. Awesome pick.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen Candyman, I don't know what the fuck you've been doing. Like, what are you worried about?
man.
Are you worried about a virus? Are you worried about a virus?
That much more pumped for the fucking movie to come out.
Hey.
It's so good.
Be worried about candy. Okay?
Men.
Candy men coming at you with diabetes.
It's what I want. That's
What
I want. I want the money.
What I want.
Candy. It's Rex Manning Day.
But anyway, also Candyman reminds me of the Chris Stapleton song. I drank Jack, I drank Jim, I drank all of his friends. I can't drink.
What kind of music stations you been listening to? What kind of shit you been listening to?
Dude, that's Chris Stapleton. That's Drink You Away.
Chris Stapleton, Drink You Away. What the fuck is
Justin
that?
Timberlake. Chris Stapleton.
Wow.
Duet. CMA. 2015.
Now you're mixing country and pop, which is the worst kind
No,
of
dude,
country.
you gotta watch that. That's really good. That's a
No.
great fucking song.
No.
Okay, goddamn Travis McTrick.
Travis McTrick. Listen, the Garth Brooks.
Okay.
Fine.
Oh, we go through
George Strait.
Travis Tritt.
Fine.
Clint
Tim
Black.
McGraw.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, all those.
Uh-huh.
There might be a little dust on the bottle.
Piece of
That's
poop.
fun. That country pop mix is.
No, dude, that
Why
wasn't.
don't you just listen to some fucking Big and Rich? Ride a horse, save a cowboy.
I think that's how you fucking buy a car. But no, it wasn't a duet at first. Chris Stapleton did the song
After he sucked his dick.
Yeah, after he sucked his dick and curled his noodle hair in his mouth. But anyway, hey man, Candyman, great choice. Thank you so much for recommending it. Check it out if you haven't seen it, and get diabetes soon. But don't. Insulin's expensive, guys.
Be my victim.
It's expensive. By the way, you know that part when the motherfucking. It's like, how are you gonna eat that shit? Like when all the candy was like laid out in that fucking place where they worshipped him, and there was a razor blade. It's like, he can't eat that shit. Stupid ass.
Yeah, I was like, that was just like some crackheads like, I'm gonna fuck with his kids.
I want to do some shit. I was looking for my razor blade to cut my shit. Oh, I left it in my chocolate bar. Anyway.
Yeah, definitely watch Candyman. Courtney, thank you so very fucking much for it. It was an excellent choice, and it was one we wanted to watch because it's coming out anyway. So awesome sexual time. I had a burp while I was talking. It was in the middle.
I heard it. You're like, it was like a fucking dildo was coming up through the couch. You're like,
Sucker cunt. Sucker cunt.
I kind of like it.
We watched a movie. Yeah. We watched a movie. watched it. We watched a movie. Yeah. You know what? We did a review. We watched a movie. We watched a movie.